Hi everyone, this is Victor Torres, and this is my friend Pastor Ryan Allen. He happens to be the youth pastor at Thrive Church, where my daughter goes to the church as well. And we're here basically to talk about arm wrestling a little bit, to kind of help people become more familiar with what this sport is about. And I know I was introduced to it back in the late 70s when I used to watch it on the Petaluma World Wrestling Championship Tournament on ABC World of Sports. And so that's kind of how I got introduced to it, and just love watching it on TV. And then eventually I started entering tournaments. Leonard Harkles is the gentleman who puts on a lot of tournaments, as well as Bill Collins. And so I thought it would be a good idea if we could talk a little bit about it. And so I wanted to first talk about the warming up. It's just like any other sport. It's important to be warmed up so there aren't any injuries that take place. So typically when we warm up, we pull from one end to the other, as we're doing right here. And this is specifically so we warm up our muscles so no one gets injured, obviously. And this is going across the table. And then what we'll also do is pull back, and this is called a top pull, by the way, which I'll get into shortly. And so we pull back this way to warm up our muscles when we exercise the top pull technique. In addition to that, it's really important to have a good firm grip, and it depends on what style that you employ. And so if a person is a hooker, which means that they're going to go across the table like this, and this would be a good move for Pastor Ryan because I think he said he's like 6'4", weighs 260 pounds, so his strength is, I'm sure, going to be to the inside, because I'm sure very few people can match his strength going to the inside. And so that means he would want a low grip, and he would hook me and go in that way. And so once you go ahead, and I'm going to have Pastor Ryan demonstrate that move that I just showed him right there. Actually, I'm sure he already knows it. Okay, ready? Go. Okay, you saw that move? So obviously I can feel his strength going on the inside. And there's another one called the top pull, which I learned years ago when I went to the Sacramento Arm Wrestling Club that was held by Brian and Mark Brandon, as well as Eric Wolfell, Dennis Wigner, Dave Malone, several others. And so they taught me, instead of hooking, you pull straight back, and they called it putting it in your pocket. They said, Nick, it's as if you're trying to put your hand in your pocket. So pull straight back, as if I'm aiming toward my pocket, and we come down like this. So I'm going to try and employ that move with Pastor Ryan here. So we say ready, go. I just bring over this way, and you finish the move like that. Okay, so that's called top pulling. A few things to be aware of too is arm wrestling has a lot to do with geometry and knowing the angles of a table. A lot of people think that, oh, you just kind of grab hold and go for it, kind of like with the kind of arm wrestling that you would see, like say in a bar room, which is not really a good depiction of arm wrestling, because it really, in my opinion, is a sport, and hopefully it'll become an Olympic sport down the road. And so anyway, so some things that are important, I think, to remember is also where you place your elbow has a lot to do with the direction that you're going. Like some people like to put their elbow toward the front of the cup, and there usually is a cup that's either square or round right here. And this one is actually all flat because it caters to being able to practice better. And so it has a lot to do with where you're most comfortable. Like Pastor Ryan, as you can see where his elbow is right here, he feels comfortable right there. I like to put my elbow kind of back, because since my move is going straight back, I kind of like to it's almost like sitting in a sitting position, and this is where my strength is, so I pull back this way. Okay, and so also there's something called the finger walk, where when the ref says ready, go, my fingers will slide over Pastor Ryan's hand. And as you can see, if he tries to wrestle, it's really hard to wrestle, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have your hand.
Yeah.
So part of the technique involves pulling him back this way with the top pull, and also taking his fingers at the same time, which makes it real tough to wrestle. And that's what I'm doing here. And basically, if he tries to come back, he's fighting himself.
Yeah.
See how hard it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happens.
No strength.
Yeah, it's real tough. So and because he's so big and strong, I'm trying to pull him this way, because I know if he gets his shoulder in here, I'm probably done for because he's so strong. As you can see, I only weigh 154 pounds. And also another move that I've learned over the years, let's see if we can, okay, actually it's just, for example, let's see if we can do it this way. When the ref says ready, go, let's say you get stuck, let's say you're pulling and no one's going anywhere. If you slide your elbow forward a little bit, you're posting up, which gives you a higher leverage over your opponent, and then you can bring them back more easily. And sometimes if you actually, I'm going to do this left hand so I can show it better this way. When you're pulling on someone, say we're going this way, let's say I'm stuck. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to get in what's called a hold position. And because here we have an advantage, you're hoping that eventually your opponent will wear out. And so you have to be patient. Patient has a lot to do with typically who's going to come out on top as far as the outcome of the match. And so there's a couple of choices here. You can either continue to bring him over this way with the top pull, and if not, then this might be an option when you cup your wrist and go forward. And if not, another option would be coming around this way with the wrist like this. So you got about 3 options. So I think those are some of the things that you can do. We're gonna just wrestle a little bit right now. We're gonna see. So I want you guys to kind of get an idea of what this looks like. Okay. Let's see where our referee would, if he could start us off here. Okay. Rick Walker, by the way, has been one of my arm wrestling coaches over the years, and he also, I think, is a national champion in bull riding. Is that right, Rick?
Yes.
Yeah, and this is Rick, by the way.
Hi.
Okay, so we're just going to try. Why don't you try and hook, and I'll try and top pull.
Okay.
And that way they can kind of see a little bit of what technique is about.
Okay.
Okay, and make sure you have your grip.
Go
That's
for it.
important.
Ready, go.
Ooh, he caught me. Good job. Now see how he caught me, guys, on the jump? You're doing everything right. Good job.
Hopefully he'll wear out soon, because I'm not.
See, guys, and this would normally be a pin because he has me below, what do they call that? It actually would have been below the pad, because there's a pad there typically. So that was perfect. And I can definitely feel his strength. There's no question.
Throw a little bit more weight in that one, sink my butt.
Okay. And I'll see if I can do a little bit of a top pull this time.
Okay.
Okay. Want to start us off, Rick?
Sure.
Okay.
You ready? Ready? Ready, go.
Okay, what I did there, guys, I hadn't discussed that move yet. That's called laying on your tricep. So since I could feel that he's much stronger than me, I wouldn't be able to
Yeah, he's still beating.
match his strength. So what I did was, I pushed forward and I laid on my tricep, which made my hand higher, and it also at the same time opened up his hand a little bit. And I was able to bring him down that way. So obviously, there's no way I can outmuscle Pastor Ryan here. He's big and strong. So I got to outsmart him.
You got out
And
of my fingers. I was pulling
hopefully
with
be
my
faster. So that's the beauty of arm wrestling, is not always the strongest person doesn't always win. It's the person that's oftentimes either the fastest or the craftiest.
Yeah.
So that has a lot to do with that as well. Another thing I was going to show too, probably couldn't do it with Pastor Ryan though, because he'd be too hard to come around because he has so much strength. That even if you're in a losing position and you're a top puller, there is a way to come around that. And if you slide your elbow forward, and instead of trying to come through him like this, which is the hard way as far as I'm concerned, if you come around like this, see this? So I'm kind of going in a roundabout way. I'm coming, instead of going around him, or instead of going through him, rather I'm going around him, and at the same time still pulling back toward me and bringing him over. And actually, if he knows how to do that too, he can do the same thing. As I'm bringing him this way, if you slide your elbow forward, there you go. So look at that. He's a natural. He knew exactly what to do. And we could actually keep doing this depending on, see, look at that. He catches on really fast. He's actually never done this with me before. So that's the beauty of this. So once again, a lot of it has to do with finesse. Very good, very good. So in arm wrestling, it's like we said earlier, the grip is important, and typically the person who gets the best grip is the one that wins. The jump is important too. When the ref says ready, go, you want to explode all in one motion, because there's a big difference between being down here on the winning side or over here on the losing side. It's just a split second. They say the average match in arm wrestling is typically 7 seconds or less. So we have the grip, the jump, and the hold we did earlier. So sometimes nobody goes anywhere, and no one is moving because you're just deadlocked. And so that's when it's important to rest and to kind of look for an opening. That's real important. So the grip, the jump, the hold, and of course the pin, which we went over in several situations. The pin is when you bring the opponent's fingers, wrist, or forearm to your side of the table. And it could be what's called a parallel pin. It doesn't necessarily have to touch the table, but if it's parallel, then that's considered a pin. So we have the grip, the jump, the hold, and then the pin. That's very important. As you can see, guys, there's a lot to it. There's angles to it. I kind of, for example, like when I was talking earlier about when you're hooking, like with Pastor Ryan, I kind of equate that with like brawling, like in boxing. Like say, for example, Mike Tyson. He was a brawler. He fought from the inside. So did Joe Frazier. Whereas somebody like say Sugar Ray Leonard, or even Oscar De La Hoya, those guys were like boxers.
Yeah.
Yes, so, and they fought from the outside. They jabbed and they fought from the outside. They didn't go in toe to toe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the, I think the differences as far as contrasting styles are concerned. So that in a nutshell, I think kind of explains a little bit about arm wrestling. There's a lot more to it than I think people normally think. It's not just let's go arm wrestle and just brawl it out. There's a lot of moves, and these are just a few basic moves that I'm showing you. They would take more time, of course, to go over all of them, but I just wanted to make sure that we're clear on that. One thing that I think is neat too is different times when I have entered a tournament, the Lord has given me several scriptures to encourage me. I know from the book of Psalms in chapter 23, verse 5, it talks about how I prepared a table before you in the presence of your enemies. And so God spoke to me and said, I prepared literally an arm wrestling table before you to strengthen you as you go to battle. And I know that in Psalm 144:1, it talks about blessed be the Lord.
Yeah.
Excuse me, blessed be the Lord who prepares my hands for war and my fingers for battle. That one I've kind of tied in with several times over the years to encourage me. And then Deuteronomy 28:13 talks a lot about the Lord shall make you the head and not the tail. You shall be above, not from beneath. So that's kind of what I flash on, what I draw from when I wrestle, because I typically when I wrestle is not just to wrestle, but it's to be a witness for the Lord.
Fear is a killer in our society. It maims, destroys, and shows no mercy to its victims. Like a hurricane that can't be stopped, a towering inferno that can't be quenched, and a deadly plague that kills at an alarming rate, it leaves you helpless, hopeless, and crying for mercy. Fear forces you to hide behind negative coping mechanisms, imaginary walls, and powerful mind games that steal your health, wealth, and emotional freedom. To survive, you make a pact with them to weather life's horrifying storms. But when you choose to face the pain from your past with honesty, courage, and faith, you experience emotional healing, enter into the promised land of peace, and rest and taste revival rather than survival. You are not destined to merely exist in a desert wasteland and emotional graveyard all of your life. You were created to live in a paradise that embraces abundant living, peace, and joy. Once you learn how powerful love is, you'll learn to thrive and realize you'll never have any reason to dwell in a prison of fear again, because it is your mission to slay fear and embrace pure love in your relationships. The promised land today can be found in a pure heart, and it awaits you if you choose to die to your fears and dare to love with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. I encourage you to choose the way of love, not fear, because perfect love casts out all fear. You have a rendezvous with your divine destiny, and it's waiting for you here within the pages of your life that follow. I commission you now to go after your emotional freedom, my friend, and do not allow anyone or anything to stop you. Enjoy the journey. Order your copy of Perfect Love Casts Out All Fear today on Amazon or Kindle. God bless.
Introducing Armed for Battle and Destined for Glory, the inspiring true story of one man's journey from hardship to triumph. As a child, Victor Torres faced poverty, beatings, bullying, rejection, heartache, parental abuse, and the death of his mother. But with unwavering determination, a strong work ethic, and faith in his creator, he overcame the odds. Against all expectations, he earned 17 national and international awards in counseling, teaching, writing, and public speaking. And then, he discovered the sport that would change his life forever. He became a 26-time World Arm Wrestling Champion, an 11-time United States National Champion, a 27-time California State Champion, and a winner of 152 career arm wrestling titles. This incredible story shows that no matter where you come from, you can achieve greatness. From victim to victor, he is an inspiration to us all. Don't miss the opportunity to be inspired. Order Armed for Battle and Destined for Glory today. On Amazon and Kindle.
Introducing The Fire of God from Heaven's Throne Room, a book of poetry that will help you find healing and hope for your broken heart. This powerful book will guide you through the process of grieving, addressing trauma, and overcoming hurt and anger. With its emphasis on adopting a healthy mindset and embracing courage, this book will help you discover a balanced life filled with perfect love, peace, and joy. Order your copy of The Fire of God from Heaven's Throne Room by author Victor Torres today, on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. Introducing The True Making of a Champion, an inspiring guide to help you unleash your full potential and become the champion you were always destined to be. In this book, you'll discover principles that will teach you what true success is all about and provide you with pertinent illustrations to encourage you every step of the way. This book is for anyone who wants to become a champion and is willing to wrestle against forces that dare to keep them from reaching their full potential. With The True Making of a Champion, you'll build strength and character through adversity and learn how to overcome misfortune with a proper mindset. Written by award-winning and 26-time World Arm Wrestling Champion Victor Torres. Don't wait any longer to become the champion you were born to be.